Welcome everyone. In this video, we are going to see how to create a Hello World example using Struts 1.3 framework. First, we need to create the Maven web project. So for that, go to File, New, Other, and then type Maven. Select Maven project. Click Next. Don't select anything in this window. Click Next. Go all the way to down. So select Maven artifact ID as Maven archetype web app version 1.0. So this one you have to select and click next. So here we need to give the group ID artifact ID. Group ID is nothing but the package name. So let's give it as pack. And artifact ID is the name of the project. So this is Hello World example. So hello hyphen world. Hello World. Okay. Let's keep the package name as pack and click finish. So now Maven web project is getting created. Okay, now Maven web project has been created successfully. So now you see the compilation error in the project. So just right click on the project, go to properties, go to Java build path. Make sure that you have the correct Java version. I mean JDK 1.8 or JDK 1.15 or JDK 17 version pointing to your project. So go to Java build path. So here we have a JSP version, but we don't want the JSP. We need the JDK. Okay, so for that you need to add the JDK. So click on add library, JRE system library. Click next and click on the alternate JDK. If you have any other JDK installed, if not, go to install JRE. So here also we do not have any JRE. So click next directory. Go to the path where you have the JDK installed in your machine. Usually we'll have it in the C program files. So go to C program files, JDK 1.8 version, click OK, finish, select JDK 1.8 version, apply and close. Okay, wait, it's already got selected to apply and close. So still we are seeing the error message. So index.jsp. So this is the reason for this error is the servlet API is missing, servlet dependency is missing over here. For Struts 1.3, we need to add these three dependencies. So let's copy this. Go to pom.xml. So under the dependency section, add these three dependencies. So the first dependency is JavaX servlet-API. This is servlet specific API, and the rest of the two are related to the struts. One is struts core, version is 1.3.10. Third one is struts stacklib library, which is 1.3.10 version. So after adding these libraries, just save the project. Now these three dependencies or libraries are getting downloaded from the public Maven repository or classbar. So now after the download, you can see that error message get disappear. You have to make sure that you have this project hierarchy like Java resources. Under the Java resources, we are going to keep all the Java related files. So under source main Java, right? Under this, we'll be creating the package, and all the web app related resources will be keeping under the source main and web app. So web app by default it comes with a web.inf and index.jsp file. Inside that web.inf folder, you'll be able to see the web.xml file. This is the deployment descriptor. So this is the file which will be referred at very first time when the application is getting loaded into the server. Okay, so let's open this file. In this web.xml file, we need to specify the welcome file list first. Welcome file list is nothing but the what is the very first JSP or view page should be loaded when the application is getting started. When the application is being accessed by the user, what should be the very first view should be rendered to the user. View in the sense it can be a JSP page or HTML page. So that file we have to specify inside the welcome file list. So we wanted to show the index.jsp file to the user when the application is getting started first. So that's why we are keeping that inside the welcome file list tag. So what we have currently, we have the hello world program, right? So even now when you start the server now and deploy the war file into the Apache Tomcat server, when you try to access the application, this is what you will see, but this is simple servlet application, not nothing related to the struts framework. Okay, let's do that first and then we will keep adding the struts related changes. Click on the hello world project, go to run on server, select Apache. So what is the Apache Tomcat version I want to return? Let's select Apache Tomcat 8.5. Click next. you need to locate the Apache Tomcat you downloaded in your local machine. Apache Tomcat 8.5 version. Click OK. Click Next. So already the Hello World var got configured to the server. So click Finish. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now we are able to see the Hello World, right? So the reason is when the application is getting loaded, I mean, when the server is getting restarted with a var file name what we specified inside the welcome file listener web deployment descriptor, I mean the web.xml. So that JSP page only will be rendered to the user. That is the reason we are seeing that hello world. So what we have in the index.jsp, just a simply hello world text, right? So this is all about the servlet and JSP related things. It's nothing related to struts. Let's move on to the strut related changes now. So we created the welcome file list in the web.xml. So next we need to create the servlet and server making tags. So first create the servlet tag. Servlet name. Let's keep the servlet name as action. We need to map the servlet class for this servlet name. So this servlet class, what we are going to specify now, it's part of the Struts library, Struts framework. So the name of the servlet class is org.apache.struts.action.action servlet. Okay. So for every program, we should specify this class only as the server class. So this action servlet will act as a controller, and we need to map the URL pattern for this servlet class. So for that, create another tag called servlet mapping. So inside the servlet mapping, specify the servlet name. So the servlet name should be same as the one what we specified inside the servlet tag. So these are all the servlet related concept. Okay, so not related struts actually. Struts also one of the servlet. Okay, so now we need to specify the URL pattern. Now we need to specify the URL patterns. Let's keep this URL pattern as star.to. So what does it mean? So star is the wildcard we know. So every request which ends with .to should always go to this action servlet. Okay, this action servlet, which is the state specific action servlet, which is acting as a controller. So that is what we are instructing to the servlet container. So we specified the action servlet here, but we need to add the one more file called strutsconfig file, in which we will be having the mapping between the request and the action classes. So let's add one more tag called init param inside the same servlet tag. Param name will be config, because this is the configuration file which is part of the controller, contains the mapping between the request and the action classes. Okay, so init param and init value, param name and param value. Param value is the path in which we are going to have the strutsconfig file. The strutsconfig file should be placed under the web.inf folder always. Where the web.inf folder is located, it is under the source, web app, and web.inf. Okay, so we need to specify the path of the strutsconfig file inside the param value tag. Okay, web.inf slash strutsconfig struts-config.xml file. So we need to create this strutsconfig file manually. So go to source, web app, web.inf, right click, new file. So we need to create the file strutsconfig.xml file. Click finish. Okay. So there is a error. So what is the error? Okay, now that this error message is gone. So we need to provide the DDT and XML schema references. So we need to add the XML namespace. So after adding this, that error message is gone. Let's format this file. So next go to index.jsp file. So in the index.jsp file, we have the hello world program, right? So if we wanted to redirect the request to this JSP page to another, so we are going to add the JSP forward command here. JSP forward page equal to input dot do, because every request should ends with the dot do, then only our action class, the action servlet, I mean our controller, struts controller will be able to handle it, right? So that's why we are adding with us input dot do. So now let's go ahead to struts config file. Okay, let's add this first. this encode UDF8 first, and then the doc type, and then inside the struts config, create the action mapping stack. So action mapping is the plural, so it contains the list of action. Inside this action mappings tag only, we have to specify all the request and corresponding action class mapping here. In this program, we are just redirecting the request from JSP to another JSP. So it should start with the action tag, action path is nothing but the request from the browser or request from the another JSP page. Here it is input. Okay, and then we need to specify to which page this request should be forwarded to. So for that we need to add forward equal to slash hello dot JSP. So I wanted to redirect the request to another JSP called hello.jsp, and then close the tag. Okay, so let's create the hello.jsp now. So all the JSP should be placed under source web app. So go to source web app, right click new JSP, hello.jsp, next finish. Okay, so here I'm going to add the hello world. Okay, so we are good. So let's run this program now. Let's run on server and finish. Restart the server. Okay, so now we are able to see the same hello world output. So let explain me the flow now. So in this program, we haven't created anything related to the action classes. We just redirecting the user request from one page to another. I mean one JSP page to another JSP page. Still, we haven't touched anything related to the action class and execute method that we are going to see it in the next video. So let me explain the flow of execution for this program. As I said very first, that in the deployment descriptor is the one which will be referred by the server when we are trying to restart the server, right? So here what we specified as the welcome file is that JSP page will be get loaded. Here it is index.jsp. So index.jsp file will be loaded at very first time. So the index.jsp file, it's forwarding the request with the path input.do. So this once we forwarded the request, it go to the controller. It's configured with the struts config file, which is located under the web INF. So it go to the struts config file. So in this in this struts config file, we'll have the mapping between the request and then the action class or another JSP, right? So here the request is the input, which is from the index.jsp page, and the corresponding JSP to which it has to be forwarded to the hello.jsp. So that the mapping we have here. If the path is input, then it should go to the hello.jsp. So it's the again the request is getting forwarded to the hello.jsp page. In this hello.jsp page, you are just printing hello world. That's it. This is simple example. In this video, we are just redirecting the user request from one page to another with the help of the struts config file. We haven't added anything with respect to action class or execute method. So those concepts we will be seeing it in the next video. Thank you.